to go along with this, and I'd see through all of your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil!
Choice.
Right. Welcome back to a special edition of Stick with Koolfrogg. I have Jimmy YouTube with me. How's it going, buddy?
Not bad, not bad. How about you, man?
I'm doing okay. This job is really interesting. It's changed some things for me. So it's like, well, I haven't done anything in the last few days. I need to actually produce something. So figured we'd watch Trump at CPAC. He was there last night about 7 o'clock-ish or whatever. He does talk for about an hour and a half. It does start off with some music, so we're gonna...
It's fun to stay at the DMCA.
Well, it's actually the other one that he comes out on. That one.
Ah, I see.
So he comes out, they're playing some music, and I'm proud to be an American.
Stand up next to you and defend it today.
Thank you to RSBN Network for, doing what you do.
Yeah, it's pretty cool of you to do what you do when you do how you do.
I did notice that they're actually doing their last day of CPAC is today. They had just started at 8 o'clock.
He thinks he's a wrestler. He needs a whole intro.
For years of me watching WWE wrestling, he actually kind of did do a bunch of stuff with.
Oh yeah,
that
dude. He's
community.
Huge friends with Vince McMahon. I think his name is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dude.
They did some interesting matches.
Yeah, I think they had a fight, him and Vince McMahon.
Oh yeah. They've done some stuff. I mean, it usually ends up being because they're old and they don't really want to wrestle or whatever, that they get some other wrestlers to come out and do some stuff for them.
Yeah.
Like the last time I remember them being together was Vince McMahon had Umaga and Trump had Bobby Lashley in his corner.
I don't know either of those fighters.
Umaga's no longer with us.
Oh.
Yeah. He was part of the Hanoi family.
Oh, my guy, I hardly knew you.
And hey.
Wow.
God bless the USA.
USA. Awake, not woke.
Thank you very much, and it's great to be back where it all started with the great patriots of CPAC. Thank you very much. Thank you. Standing before you today, I'm thrilled to report that our incredible movement, a movement that nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. There has never been anything like it before. Is strong and growing stronger every single day.
Seems to be a little bit of a delay.
The radical left is
in
exposed.
audio
They're
and video.
weak, and their pathetic policies have been out there long enough now that we don't want them. We'll never take them. We are bringing back our country, and we are bringing back our freedom.
So before we go too far, we're not here to actually say that this guy is anything, because he's not. the most legitimate president ever is Joe Biden. There's no doubt about that. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can change about it. We're not doctors. By giving you medical advice, and we're not going to follow this guy's medical advice. We suggest that you actually go see your doctor and do what's best for you.
Forget duly elected. That Joe Biden guy, he's like quintuply elected. Everybody elected that guy.
Everybody.
Some people elected him twice.
Even the people that weren't registered voted for that man. Holy man.
That's how much people like. Even people that were dead or moved voted for that man. Very strange.
Supposedly. We don't know for sure. we're just we're having fun.
We're just making jokes. They're just jokes.
Right, they're just jokes. We're gonna see what this guy has to actually really say. Apparently, there's a couple choice things that he had actually had said. News networks are actually picking it up and actually running it.
The socialists, globalists, Marxists, and communists who are attacking our civilization have no idea of the sleeping giant. They have awoken. We are a sleeping giant. They cannot even begin to imagine the brave and righteous spirit.
Say what?
Oh, I was just remarking. I believe I've made that comparison a time or two. The people are the sleeping giant. I like that phraseology.
Quality up just a touch. See if we can fix some of this glitch.
They've unleashed in men and women like all of you here today, and this is some crowd. We broke the record again. But they're going to find out the hard way starting on November 8th, and then again, even more so, on November 2024. They will find out like never before.
Is he saying something?
We did it twice, and we'll do it again. We're going to be doing it again a third time. 2022 will be the year that millions of everyday citizens stand up to the left-wing fascists, and they'll continue, and we will all continue together to make America great again.
Please do.
We had it done. The election was rigged.
Well,
allegedly.
That's his words.
They've undone some of it, not all of it. They'll never be able to do all of it because we'll be acting long before they can do all of it. It was up to them. They'd do everything they could to destroy our country. But we can build it back again quickly and even better than before because they have lost all credibility. They've proven during this period of time that their policies are a disaster and that their policies don't work. We'll get voter ID. We'll never defund the police. Ridiculous cancel culture will be wiped out entirely. The wall will be quickly completed. To build the wall.
Now, from what I've caught, and I don't know if this is, or from what I've gathered, is Texas has actually completed their portion, or they're attempting to complete their portion. They're actually paying for it to actually get completed. And as soon as it's done, they're going to see what they can to actually get refunded from federal government on it. I don't know exactly all how it's going to actually work out, how it's going to turn out for that. But
see, I had heard that we actually were knocking down large sections of the wall. During this administration.
Yeah, see, I haven't heard anything about it knockdown, but that could be an interesting thought. I mean, almost anything could really happen with this structure that they want to put along the border. I don't know. It's very interesting. I have to look into that a little closer.
Complete the wall in 3 weeks. Took 2.5 years on the wall, 2.5 years to win all of the litigation, over 11 lawsuits that they threw at us. And we have it just about finished. And then I said, they can't be serious. They don't want to close up the little loops. But nobody's ever had a border so secure as the border that we had. We'll be sealed good and tight, except for people coming into our country legally.
No, we're full. Fuck off.
The drugs pouring in, the human trafficking will stop, and we will again save our country from destruction. I want to thank the American Conservative Union for putting on this incredible show, this great program of patriots, and in particular, thank you to Matt and Mercedes Schlapp. Thank you very much. We have some great Republican leaders tonight also, and we have so many that I'm going to leave some out. It's always a disaster when we do this, because they'll say, sir, and it takes me a year to make up. It takes me a year, because it's a year before they sit before you again. But we'll give it the best we can. I want to thank, and these are great people, these are patriots, Senator Rick Scott. Rick. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Rick. Senator Bill Hagerty. Bill, Tennessee. Great state of Tennessee. Thank you, Bill. And John Kennedy, he's running. If it's not going to be much of an election, he's going to win so easily. John, whoa, he's popular. Where's John?
He is very
Look
popular.
at John.
Where's he from?
Where is John? Great. John, you're popular, John. Wow. Great student.
Not really
He's a
positive
great
on that
student.
one.
Comes from an incredible state. The other senator's not so good in that state, I must be honest. But John Kennedy is fantastic. Went to Oxford. Do you know that? He went to Oxford. He was an incredible student, brilliant guy. And he's with us all the way. Also, Representatives Madison Cawthorn. Where's Madison? Where's Madison?
Louisiana.
Madison. They're doing everything they can to stop him. They're doing everything. Will not be successful, will it? Mark Green. Mark, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. A person who's very shy, doesn't like speaking her mind, but she does it anyway. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Where's Marjorie?
I mean, she's become very popular in her own, really, when it comes down to it.
It's crazy. These
A man
people
that
are like
knows me
superstars
almost
now.
better than any human being.
Right. The skyrocket immediately. The second that they do something that's controversial.
Oh, good for the people.
Right. I mean, I'm just using, because using other words because that's basically what it comes down to is she's done a lot. She's trying to do more. She's trying to do more to the point where she filed some papers to see if she can't get rid of Maxine Waters. Which,
man, if she's still alive, good gosh.
I know, right? That smug face. You'd think that she would just.
Her and Lori Lightfoot, man, like just Jesus.
Right.
He knows every inch of me.
Every inch of me.
And he thinks it's actually a very beautiful sight. That's why I like it.
Oh my God.
That's why I like it. He was the White House doctor. And also for Obama and for Bush.
Jesus Christ.
And I'd love to ask him who's in the best shape.
You've already asked.
He was also an incredible admiral, highly respected by everybody. He was a great admiral. He was a great doctor, a great admiral. And you know what he is now? He's an incredible, loving, wonderful, but very tough politician from Texas. Congressman Ronnie Jackson. Thank you, Ronnie. We love Ronnie. He said President Trump is the healthiest president in history. If he didn't eat junk food, he'd live for 200 years. That got us into a lot of trouble, right, Ronnie? That statement got us into trouble, but that's okay. We all love you, Ronnie. Thank you. Great job. Great job. A man who's terrific, who really loves our country and who's loved in the state of Florida, Matt Gaetz. Where's Matt? Thank you, Matt.
Obviously controversial in his own.
Former congressman and now happens to be working on a little project called Truth Social, which has been trending at the top all over the place, and it's going to give our voice back. Well, and he's tough as hell.
Other than the
former congressman,
other than the fact that it's only available on Apple products currently.
Where is Devin? Devin! He's tough.
They could just make it a download off of like DuckDuckGo or something.
And you know, I don't.
They could do a lot of things, but when you actually go to that what was the Truth Network or whatever it was, and you actually look at it, yeah, or Truth Social, right? It actually goes straight to an error screen because it's only currently available on the Apple products. They haven't figured it out for PC. They haven't figured it out for Android. And it's like, well, what's the problem? Is there a problem? Is there something else that's going on that you couldn't get it released for everybody at the, it just to me it seems weird, right? I don't have an iPhone, so I mean I'm kind of.
I don't have all these names, but I happened to see a star. 28-1 in wrestling. He was serious. Don't wrestle him. A man every time he goes on television, it's like a fight. He gets on, he's at one point, the other point, and there's nobody like him. And if you ever saw him work out, the machine starts to burn, the treadmill starts to go up on fire. He's still in great shape, but he's a tough cookie, all-American wrestler, and nobody like him, really. There's nobody like him. Congressman Jim Jordan. Congressman Jim Jordan. And Polly. And Polly produced one All-American or two? Is it two? One? Two. She said two. Two All-American wrestlers. Then I said, are you better than your father was? He said, no, sir. Nobody's better than my father was. That's only a son could say that, right? Right, Polly? Jim, thank you for being here. Great people. And Governor Kevin Stitt. We know Governor Stitt. He's here someplace. Governor Stitt. And by the way, I noticed a patriot in our midst, Mike Lindell. Will you stand up? He's a patriot. He's a patriot.
Go ahead and throw up all those banners real quick, RSB.
He's a great guy, too. He spent his life,
My pillow.
over 2 years, he spent a whole life. I will tell you what he does and what he goes through, what he believes. He's a great patriot. Thank you, Mike, very much. Another great patriot. She is doing incredibly well in Arizona. She was the anchor She was the anchor for 22 years. I hate to say that long. Was that about right? 22 years, and people loved her. And she's beautiful inside and out. You know, you're not allowed to say that anymore. It's politically incorrect, but it's true. She's beautiful inside and out. She's an incredible woman. Carrie Lake.
You can't say it anymore because it's politically incorrect. But, you know, I'm going to say it anyway. She's beautiful inside and out.
Carrie Lake, everybody.
Carrie Lake.
And she is leading big. Wow, I just looked at a poll, Carrie, and...
This is the one that you were trying to think of her name, whatever, last time. We did the Trump Watch party, and we ended up figuring it out because there had flags, or signs up in the back. This is the lady that's supposed to...
This is the chick from Florida.
Well, you never know, right? So just keep working. Keep working, but you're leading very, very big, and you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much. And there's so many other people here. If I see them, if you don't mind, during the course of the speech, I'll just bring them out. This way it saves me a lot of problems for the rest of the year, or when they vote against me at some point. They'll vote against me because I didn't mention their name. You know, they're politicians, and they're vicious people. Somebody said... Sir, you've been in business, you've been in entertainment, The Apprentice, and you've been in politics. Who are the toughest, who are the worst? I said, the worst are the politicians. The toughest are the politicians. The meanest are the politicians. And the biggest lying scum are the politicians. Like Adam Shifty Schiff. Where do you meet people like this? He actually made up a story about my phone call with the president of Ukraine, who, by the way, is a brave man. He's hanging in. He's a brave man.
I don't give a shit about your phone call. There's so much more to be talking about right now.
And I like him because, you know, during that ridiculous impeachment waste of time, and the Republicans stood by us.
Like, there are way worse people.
We were 196-0. When did you ever hear Republicans do that? But this was truly a scam. But the president of Ukraine said he did nothing wrong. He could have said he did something, or he thought, well, I wasn't appropriate, you know, all the crap you have to listen to, right? He said he did absolutely nothing. I called him up to congratulate him on his victory. He said he did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. I'm glad that tape was going. Those transcribers were writing during that call, because otherwise it could have been. But this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with some people that are truly evil, truly bad people. Let me also express my enormous gratitude to every single one of you here today in the audience. We appreciate you being here. It's a great crowd. That's a lot of people. And that's a lot of fake news. Look at all those cameras up there. Wow. That's a lot of people. And my friends from North Carolina, they've come to 92. Our beautiful friends, they've come to 92 rallies and CPACs and other things. Thank you all very much. Thank you. I don't know if their husbands are happy about it, but they are beautiful people. They're great people. Thank you very much. Thank you for your dedication. You know what? The bottom line, they love our country. They love our country. Thank you. Appreciate it. So we've been together from the very beginning in this journey, and we are a long way from being done, because we had something very bad happen, and we have to keep it going. We're not going to have a country left for an amazing 48 years. CPAC has helped to conserve, protect, and defend our magnificent American heritage. And this year we're being vividly reminded how fragile and precious that heritage really is. I never knew how important being president was. I was president for 4 years. I think I did a great job. We did things that nobody could do.
Should have pardoned Ed Snowden.
Julian Assange.
Yeah.
Four more years. 4 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 more years. sadly, we have to deal with our current legitimate president for the next 3.
He needs to frickin' pardon Kim Potter, too.
The importance of the president, when I look at what's happening to our country today, the president is such an important representative. Now, we obviously know that. But
Should be
just
out before he
a wrong word or a
becomes president
wrong,
again.
like a yawn, or going to
would
sleep
have the potential.
very early, like at 4 o'clock. No, you just can't. It's just such an important. It's so important, psychologically so important for our country. I never really realized to that extent. I knew it was important, but you assume you're going to be doing certain things that are right. We rebuilt our economy and energy independence and all of those things, but you also have to portray a strength to the outside world. Otherwise, they're going to walk all over you, and that's what they're doing right now. You could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage that Joe Biden and his administration has done in just a very short 13 months. And no matter how you look at it, our country has totally lost its self-confidence. Lost its self-confidence. We as a country have no confidence anymore, but we will get it back, and we'll get it back stronger than ever before. Whoever heard of that? Whoever heard of that? Our country has lost its self-confidence. Whoever heard of that? Whoever thought you'd be hearing? But it's true, we've lost our self-confidence. When you see the way we withdrew, when you see the things, the stupidity.
We've lost our confidence in our leadership.
Who wants this? Prisons from other countries being emptied out into our country. Just over 1 year ago, we had the most secure border in U.S. history, record low gas prices, American energy independence, the fastest economic recovery in the history of our country, fastest economic recovery in history.
And it's not like this guy actually helped us with our confidence anyway. I mean,
he definitely made a lot more Americana stuff happen. Like made a lot more people a lot more patriotic.
Right, exactly. The patriotism really is lacking and has been lacking for quite some time. And he kind of brought some of it back. But under this current administration, I just don't see anybody really caring or wanting to care about anything.
They just want to wreck the country. That's what they're here for.
Right.
Depopulation.
An unrivaled military. We rebuilt the military and we added Space Force on top of it. And peace and quiet was
Looks
all
like
around
I got a
the
couple
world.
likes for the video already.
Now inflation is the highest in 40 years.
Thanks for anybody that's
Economists
paying
are
attention.
talking about $5, $6, $7, and even $8 a gallon gasoline. Supply chains are crumbling. Store shelves are empty. Millions of illegal aliens are rushing our borders. Murders are setting records in our cities. The streets of our Democrat-run cities are drenched in blood. A radical left zealot has been nominated to the Supreme Court of the United States. China is threatening Taiwan. Russia is decimating Ukraine. Iran is on the cusp of a nuclear bomb. We ended the worst and most dangerous deal I've ever seen, and now they want to go back to it, the Iran nuclear deal. America and our great military has been humiliated in its surrender from Afghanistan, and that's what it was. It was a surrender for no reason whatsoever. We wanted to get out, but we had to get out with strength and with dignity. And a major war in Europe may very well erupt. That's how they start. Exactly what's happening today. This is how they start. Joe Biden turned calm into chaos, competence into incompetence, stability into anarchy, and security into catastrophe. The Russian attack on Ukraine is appalling. It's an outrage and an atrocity that should never have been allowed to occur. It never would have occurred. We are praying for the proud people of Ukraine. God bless them all. God bless them all.
Lordy.
Thank you. They are indeed brave. As everyone understands, this horrific disaster would never have happened if our election was not rigged and if I was the president.
Well, we know that the election wasn't rigged and that Joe Biden is our most legitimate president. So, it's just this guy's thoughts. That's not my thoughts. That's not Jimmy's thoughts. So, it's just what this guy has to say. It's what his thoughts are.
I have some thoughts on it.
Very simple. It wouldn't have happened.
Right?
Under Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under Obama, Russia took Crimea. Under Biden, Russia invaded Ukraine. I stand as the only president of the 21st century on whose watch Russia did not invade another country.
Straight facts.
Good job, sir. USA.
Thank you. I gave Ukraine the javelins that everyone is now talking about and millions of dollars of other military equipment. The Obama administration gave them blankets. You remember? They gave them blankets. They said, we need more than blankets. No, we gave you blankets. They sent them blankets. Thank you very much. Under our leadership, the world was a peaceful place because America was strong, and the perception of our country was perhaps like it had never been before. Powerful, cunning, and smart. We were a smart country. Now we're a stupid country. We always, very simply, put America first. That was the answer. With the Abraham Accords, we had peace in the Middle East. We had peace in Europe. China knew that it could no longer take advantage of the United States. And I was proud to be the first president in decades who did not get our country into any wars. I got you out of wars.
True.
Thank you. Thank you. Under our administration,
remember back in
Russia
Obama's
respected
term, it was
America.
like, oh, no boots on the
Just
ground.
like every other country respected America, and they really respected us a lot. But now Joe Biden is seen as a weak, and I hate to say it because I want him to do a great job. I really want him to do. Politically, I don't care. I would much rather have him do a great job than a poor job. But nobody could ever believe how bad and weak and grossly incompetent it has been. And when you have a weak president who is not respected by other nations, you have a very chaotic world. And the world hasn't been this chaotic since World War II. I think we can say that. We can say that very strongly. I have no doubt that President Putin made his decision to ruthlessly attack Ukraine only after watching the pathetic withdrawal from Afghanistan, where the military was taken out.
Thoughts?
None that I can share on your channel. I'll have to wait until I work up the capacity to do it on mine.
out first. Our soldiers were killed, and American hostages plus
it looks
$85
like
billion
there's a couple
worth
people
of
that are watching
finest
over
equipment
on
anywhere in the world
Twitch.
were left behind.
Nice.
Thank you for watching.
Yesterday, reporters asked me if
Don't
I
forget
thought
to
President Putin
subscribe,
was smart.
follow.
I said,
go over to YouTube,
of course he's
subscribe,
smart, to which I was
follow.
greeted with, oh, that's such a terrible thing to say. I'd like to tell
If you
the
let me
yes,
know
he's
who you are,
smart.
that
The
talk
NATO
to me or whatever,
nations,
we
and
can
indeed the world,
we can give you some
as
Discord
he
links.
looks
and you can
over
join
what's
us.
happening strategically with no repercussions or threats whatsoever, they're not so smart. They're looking the opposite of smart. If you take over Ukraine, we're going to sanction you, they say. Sanction? Well, that's a pretty weak statement. Putin is saying, oh, they're going to sanction me. They've sanctioned me for the last 25 years. You mean I can take over a whole country and they're going to sanction me? You mean they're not going to blow us to pieces, at least psychologically? The problem is not that Putin is smart, which of course he's smart, but the...
And this is the little bit clip that left media has been cutting and actually saying, see, he said it again. He said that Putin's smart. Well, I mean, is Putin really not smart when it comes down to it? I mean, obviously the guy has a brain.
I mean, you don't stay alive in the Russian area that long, being how Putin is, not being smart.
Right. The guy knows what he's doing. He's doing it on purpose. Not that we're actually condoning what he's doing as a good thing, but the guy's very intelligent, knows what he's doing, and he's going to continue to do whatever he wants to do because he knows that this current administration isn't going to do anything to stop him, even though they keep on threatening to say that they're going to. I just don't see it happening.
Just like they do nothing when the people riot. Oh, but when our people riot, we don't fucking riot anyway. We actually protest. I forgot, we're civilized.
The real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Dumb.
Bingo.
So dumb. And they so far allowed him to get away with this travesty and assault on humanity. That's what it is. This is an assault on humanity. It's so sad. Putin is playing Biden like a drum, and it's not a pretty thing as somebody that loves our country to watch. It's just not a pretty thing to watch. You know, I was with Putin a lot. I spent a lot of time with him. I got along with him. I got along with President Xi. I got along with Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un has massive nuclear power. It's a good thing to get along with people, not a bad thing. You can be very tough and get along.
Oh, shit.
You know, I'm the one that ended his...
That's those are the lines that media's picked up or whatever, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that he's actually doing this. I can't believe he's actually saying this kind of stuff. He's like praising these bad people, and it's like, well,
it's better to get along. I think everyone would agree.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. It's just like, if you get along with people, as opposed to not getting along with them, you have the tendency to maybe get further in life. But we can.
Pipeline. He said, you're killing me with the pipeline. Nobody else ended his pipeline. Biden came in. He approved it. But I did a lot of things that were very tough on Russia. No president was ever as tough on Russia as I was. And I'd come in, the fake news would say, Trump loves Russia. He loves Russia. Then we had the Russia hoax, which is now with Durham and Mueller and all the rest, just a total hoax. It was a made-up, fictional story. But with respect to what's going on now, it would have been so easy for me to stop this travesty from happening. He understood me, and he understood that I didn't play games. This would not have happened. Someday I'll tell you exactly what we talked about. But we talked about it. And he did have an affinity, there's no question about it, for Ukraine. I said, never let it happen. You better not let it happen. This is the only attack in history where the further he goes and the bigger it gets, then the worse it gets, and the more death that's caused, the more money he makes, because oil prices keep climbing higher and higher and higher. There's never been anything like that, where a warring nation, the more he makes it difficult to get oil, the more expensive it gets, and the more money he makes. And all those tanks roaming around are very expensive, but they're peanuts compared to the kind of money that he's making because of the tremendous increase in oil. You know, when I left, and during my term, oil was at $36 a barrel. Think of it, 36. Now it hit 100, and they think it's going to 150. So the Middle East and Saudi Arabia, a lot of countries, but Russia right now in particular is making more money than they ever dreamt possible. The cost of the war is very, very small compared to the kind of money they're taking in. There's never been a situation like that. It's horrible to watch. It's horrible because it's a disincentive for him to disengage. Remember, Joe and Hunter Biden got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife and were never allowed to explain in the debate. Remember we had the debate? And I said, hey, what'd you do with the $3.5 million that you got from the mayor of Moscow's wife? And Chris Wallace, who I assume was now fired from Fox, which is good. He said that's not an appropriate question. That turned out to be another one. Trump was right. That turned out to be another very appropriate question. He got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Very rich family, I will tell you that. This is a conflict of interest, but at the same time, Joe Biden bragged unknowingly on tape, and this was on tape, can you imagine if I said it, about getting rid of a Ukrainian prosecutor, or he wouldn't allow $1 billion of American taxpayers' money to be given to Ukraine. They kept saying, where's the money, where's the money, where's the money? No, you got to get rid of that prosecutor, he's getting too close. Can you imagine if I did that? And he was on tape. And the fake news media, those people right there, refused to report it.
Of course they do.
And that's without mentioning the fact that China gave them $1.5 billion to manage. And he never managed money before, other than the money they got, probably. There's plenty of conflicts there. You don't have to even think about it. And the fake news didn't want to mention anything. They didn't want to talk about it. It was bad for the election. It was bad for our country in their mind, but they probably knew talking about it would have been good. We can never really bring our country back unless we get an honest media, because they're like the policing agent, and they refuse to air scandal. They refuse to air it. And it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen over the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks as one of the worst scandals ever. I call it the crime of the century, ballot harvesting, as it gets released. And it's all on
are you
tape.
shitting me? Ballot harvesting is the crime of the century? Are you fucking kidding me?
Right, out of anything that he could have actually said, I mean, he's still on the fact of it's never going to escape his mind. He's always going to be thinking about what happened in 2020 and his thoughts. And, you know, he's never going to stop thinking that way. He's always going to keep on, you know, jumping on, well, no, this is the crime. This is a crime. And I'm going to make sure that it gets fixed. So that way nobody can actually ever do that again.
There's such more important things that happen than
exactly. There's a lot more that he could actually be dealing with, other than trying to deal with, you know, whatever supposed ballot harvesting. We don't know for a fact that any of this stuff actually happened, because nobody's going to tell us for anyway. Nobody's going to come out and say, oh, yep, this actually happened. Nobody's ever going to come up and say, yeah, yep, that's what it was. And, we screwed you. Nobody. Not a single person ever going to say that. They're just going to, keep on doing what they want to do. Again, Joe Biden is the most legitimate president ever.
It's all on tape. And Truth to Vote, I want to thank those incredible women for the job. Catherine and all of them for the job they've done. It's incredible. But that'll be released very soon. Everything is on tape. Even the pictures are taken of the people stuffing the ballot boxes, because without the pictures, they don't get paid. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of votes in each swing state. They focus, they say, on the swing states. And you know what? They probably did others too. But the swing states was the focus. Over the past year, we've seen weakness, self-loathing, and self-destruction on a scale previously unthinkable. A military obsessed with equity to all and only being politically correct. I said, so let me ask you, is a general, good, strong General Patton, how do you think he'd like this military? General Douglas MacArthur, would General Patton be allowed to shout at a private who was doing a horrible thing? Sir, we don't think that would be appropriate. Oh, really? Oh. I don't think, Jim Jordan, that would work out too well, would it, huh? Wouldn't work out too well. A Department of Homeland Security actively aiding illegal immigration and, in many cases, criminals coming into our country. Criminals, absolute criminals. A Department of Energy and Interior forcing us to be reliant on foreign energy at a cost that is not acceptable to our nation and not sustainable. A Department of Justice waging war on an opposing party and patriotic parents. As grave as the dangers are abroad, it's the destruction within that spells our doom. We must get this reversed. Our most dangerous people are people from within. These are people that must hate our country because they make us weak and they make our country unsustainable as a nation itself. Unbelievably, Biden is now claiming that you must sacrifice through higher energy prices to foot the cost of his failed foreign policy in Europe. I saw John Kerry on television, and we're talking about energy. We need energy, we need oil, we need gas, we need everything. No, no, no. No, no, global warming, global warming. We have a world that's ready to blow up and disintegrate over energy, and he's talking about global warming. The oceans may rise over the next 300 years, 1/100th of an inch. Giving you slightly more seafront property. And this is his problem. He's not thinking about the nuclear warming. He's thinking about other types of warming. These people are not living in a world of reality. The reason we've got soaring gas prices is that Biden shut down American energy, canceled our oil and gas leases just 2 days ago. 2 days ago, they canceled many oil and gas leases because of the environment. It's really unbelievable. And canceled the Keystone XL pipeline that I approved, while he enriched Putin by approving the Russian pipeline, which has really been at the core of much of the problem we have right now. And I fought Angela. I said, Angela, here is a white flag, happened to be a white napkin that was on my desk. I said, Angela, you can have it. She said, but why, but why? I said, because you're getting 75%. I think it's higher than that, but it will be. 75% of your energy from Russia. And as you probably know through history, you've had some rather major conflicts with Russia. And if you ever have a conflict with Russia, you will be able to wave the white flag and surrender because they supply your energy. And I knew that would happen. I just never had any idea it was going to happen so fast. Now Biden is pleading with OPEC and begging Iran to re-enter the disastrous nuclear deal. With Biden, you get a war in Europe, and a war on American energy. With Republicans, you get energy independence and energy dominance.
Gotta love the sound of that.
We will reclaim our status as the #1 energy superpower on the face of the earth, something that I had achieved for the first time in 72 years. I was very proud of that. They ended it almost immediately.
What?
Bigger
America's doing well. We can't have
than
that.
Russia and Saudi Arabia combined ×2 in 1 year. We were already bigger. We were doing things that we had never done before. And we should not be buying Russian energy, but rather allow the people of our country to start producing like they did just 1 year ago. That's all we have to do. This will drive prices down, drive inflation down. You want to get rid of inflation or bring it way down? Reduce the cost of energy. That's the single biggest factor having to do with inflation.
Nothing to do with
And
the
what has
printing of the
happened
money.
in Ukraine is a catastrophic disaster, but it isn't really that interesting that so many Democrat politicians in Washington, they seem to be rushing to microphones to declare that Ukraine's borders are sacred. They want to say their borders are sacred. And we feel for Ukraine in so many ways, but Ukraine's sovereignty must be defended at all costs, they say, even while they're destroying our own borders and surrendering our own sovereignty. We have a border that's a catastrophe. We have people coming into our country that we don't want. They will not be good for our country. You will be paying a price for many, many years to come. We have terrorists that came out of Afghanistan with the plane. Remember they said, oh, the planes are coming in. The people that rushed the planes, those are very energetic people. Those are people that you will be paying a big, big price for years to come. The most important duty of every elected lawmaker is to protect and defend America, and that begins with protecting and defending America's borders. Under Joe Biden, we're losing our country no different than if we had lost it in a war. No different. No different.
That's
Millions of people are pouring in, descending on our communities, camping in our town, depleting our resources, flouting our laws, and bringing crime, drugs, and death to the streets of our cities and communities. And they're not only coming from Central and South America, they're coming from all over the world, over 160 countries. In many cases, from jails that are being emptied into our country as though we are a dumping ground. We're not the United States. We're considered a dumping ground for criminals. The Biden administration has spent months obsessing over how to stop an invasion of a foreign country thousands of miles away. I believe Americans deserve a president who will stop the invasion of our country also.
Sounds good to me.
And we had it stopped 1 year ago. We had it stopped. We had it stopped 1 year ago. You can't defend Western civilization if you would not be able to defend your own civilization. And that means we need borders that work, elections that are fair and free and not rigged, and crime that must be immediately stopped in our cities. And we must immediately stop the influx of illegal aliens. Has to stop immediately. Our country is being pulled in. The Biden administration cares more about helping citizens of a distant foreign nation than it does about our own citizens, because our country is a mess. Our country is a dangerous place, and it's getting worse and worse every day. And when you hear 3 million people this year, it's not 3 million. It's probably 3 to 4 times that number. It's probably 10 million, 11 million, or 12 million. But the real truth is they have no idea what it is. Yet if the radical Democrats truly want to fight for democracy abroad, if they want to look abroad and fight for what they want to fight for, I don't think they do, they should start with the democracy that is under threat right next door, a place called Canada.
Canada?
Whatever could be going on in Canada?
Well, by the way, we got rid of
I don't know.
NAFTA. We have the USMCA, that's Mexico and Canada. One of the greatest deals we ever made. And I know it's great because they want to renegotiate the deal. That was a horrible deal. NAFTA was the worst trade deal ever made. And now we have probably the best trade deal ever made. But they want to renegotiate, and they probably will do it. This administration, oh, sure. That's not putting America first. We put America first. It's a great deal. They should leave it. They've been ripping us off for 30 years. It's time for us to do well. The tyranny we have witnessed in Canada in recent weeks should shock and dismay people all over the world. In an advanced Western democracy, the peaceful movement of patriotic truckers, workers, and families protesting for their most basic rights and liberties has been violently put down. Their assets and life savings have been frozen. They have been slandered as Nazis, racists, and terrorists. These are the names they've been called. They've been arrested and charged with phony crimes. They've been falsely accused of loyalty to foreign powers. I watched them. I saw those maple leafs all over the flags and the love for their country. Plenty of Americans were there, too, and they love our country. They're being hunted down like enemies of their own government and treated worse than drug dealers and murderers or rapists. A line has been crossed. You're either with the peaceful truckers or you are with the left-wing fascists. And that's what's been happening. And it's been a strong line. We stand with the truckers, and we stand with the Canadian people in their noble quest to reclaim their freedom.
Good.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's kind of over now, but yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you, Linda. Good job. Right here in our own nation, it's also far past time to declare independence from every last COVID Band-Aid. It's time. It's time.
So, to go along with that, we're not doctors, and we're not going to actually tell anybody what to do, how to do it, when to do it. You should actually go see a doctor and do what's best for you. All of that being said, I've been paying attention to some news lately or whatever. There's a TV at my place of employment, and it sits on, pretty much all day, every day. Depends on who's working and what channels I actually put up. And I've watched every single, from CNN to Fox to whatever. I've watched different, segments off of different. Not a single one of them brings up a thing to do with that at all.
Oh, the old vid?
Yep. Nobody talks about it anymore. Nobody's saying, oh my God. Nobody, it used to be like that's what the whole, hour episode of any, news segment would be about that.
Well, now Russia's the scary new fear point.
Yep. Now Russia and Ukraine is the new scary thing. Exactly.
Because you look too hard into that, and there's something you might find, kids.
Again, we're not doctors. We're not telling you to do anything. We're just, a couple commentators that are commenting on some stuff that's actually happening.
Yeah, just comment. You guys should too. Post your comments.
And you know, as early as when
you think
it first happened,
Right.
I let
Vote
the
for them
governors
off, and
make
we'll
that
actually give
decision.
you
And we had
comment
some governors
back
that did a
on
great
anything
job,
that
and we
you have
had
to
some
say.
governors that didn't do a very good job. I can tell you that the Republican governors did quite well, thank you, quite well. And a big, big difference also on crime. You look at where the crime is, and you don't see the word Republican very much, if at all. With one voice, Americans must insist that the emergency is over, and we will submit to this left-wing tyranny no longer. We will not do it any longer. They're causing so much damage to people and to our children. The people who are masking our children may plan to lift those mandates right before the election, thinking they'll get some votes, but we will never forget what they did to our children. We will hold them accountable at the ballot box this November. As everyone here understands, the COVID mandates are just one part of a much larger crisis. The radical left is trying to replace American democracy with woke tyranny. They want to do the same thing to America
Otherwise known
that
as
Trudeau
communism.
has been doing to Canada, and much, much worse.
What about Australia?
Our mission in 2022 and in 2024 is to take on this radical and power-hungry ruling class and to deliver them an electoral defeat so resounding that they are exiled into political oblivion, never, ever to return again.
Kick the Dems' asses into political oblivion.
Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, and crazy Nancy Pelosi are the sinister faces of this corrupt and lawless political establishment. They enrich their families in Ukraine, China, Russia, while they shutter your small businesses right here at home. They send young Americans to fight and die for the borders of distant foreign nations, while they throw our borders open to an illegal foreign invasion, which is what is happening. They set violent criminals loose without charges while prosecuting their political opponents for fabricated crimes. They legalize mass robberies and cheer for BLM and Antifa rioters, ransacking our cities while they hold nonviolent protesters without trial, destroy their lives. They lift sanctions on Iran while sanction and destroy our own citizens. They try to silence voices like Joe Rogan for alleged misinformation while they...
Whoa! Did you hear the guy?
The
It's
one
just like a perfect. Excellent.
So now he's going to go and talk about Joe Rogan. We all know what about Joe Rogan.
perpetuate the most flagrant hoaxes and monstrous lies like the Russia hoax. How that? For 3 years, we had to put up with the Russia hoax. It was a total hoax. They indoctrinate your children to hate their parents while calling you a hateful racist. They stick the FBI on mothers at school board meetings while they teach 4-year-olds to pick their own genders. Would you like to change your gender? And they say it's absolutely fine for a boy or a man to participate in women's sports. I don't think so. They use big tech to censor you. They use the deep state to spy on you. They use the intelligence agencies to frame you. They use the media to slander you. They use the legal system to persecute you. It is a persecution. They rig elections to disenfranchise you and destroy you and ruin your lives. I've seen the anger and the hatred and the horror at the 2020 election. All the while they claim as they are the ones defending democracy. They say they are the ones that are going to defend your democracy and your justice. It's a lot of bullshit. That's what it is.
Yeah.
He said it, not me.
When we win, we will defeat this corrupt political establishment. We will save our republic, and we will restore constitutional government of, by, and for the people. The Washington swamp knows that we are coming to break their grip on power forever. That is why they are so desperate to stop us. They will go to any lengths. And that is why the corrupt Democrat prosecutors, an unconstitutional, unselect committee on January 6th, the unselect committee. Can you imagine a committee made of these thugs? They hate us all. Is there ever been a committee like this? The unselect committee. I think that was my term. I think I came up with it first. I'm very proud of many of our terms.
I'm
but
very
they're
proud that I
continuing
came
their
up with
evil
that.
and demented persecution of me, my family, my staff, my supporters, and you. It's the same witch hunt that's been going on since day one, since actually the day that I came down the escalator with our great future First Lady. Now we know that crooked Hillary not only spied on my campaign, she spied on the White House.
That's a lock her
You remember
up
when I
chant.
said years ago, I think they spied on my campaign, and everybody said on the other side, how dare he say that? How dare he? Well, it turned out to be true, and I want to thank John Durham for figuring that out. And I believe that's just a foundation on which a lot of very bad things are going to be learned about what took place. Everything they're doing to me is about preserving their power and control over the American people. If I renounce my beliefs, if I agreed to stay silent, if I stayed at home, if I said I'm not going to run, the persecution would stop immediately. They'd go on to the next victim. Who's next? But they'll never, ever do what they did to me. And nobody else, I don't believe, would be able to take it if they did. I have had that a lot. I've had great people come up to me and tell me, sir, may I please ask you a question? Yes, what would you like to know? Sir, how did you take it? How did you take it? How did you take what they did to you? And in many ways, I can't answer that question. But there's never been anything like this ever done to an American president before. But I can't do any of those things because I love this country. We love this country, and we're going to bring this country back, and it's going to be bigger and better and stronger than ever before.
Get it done.
But remember, they're coming after me because I'm standing up for you, and that is it. I'm standing up for you. In 2022, we're taking on this wretched and corrupt political establishment like never before, and we've learned a lot over the last 4 years. We've learned how corrupt they are. Nobody can even believe it. If you wrote a book or a novel And it was all just printed out like this, with Crooked Hillary, with the Mueller report, which was okay, we like it. Did it find no collusion? But with all of the things that you've seen, all of the horrible things that you've seen, the corruption, the spying, it was spying. It's probably worse than spying. It's treason. It's everything you can have. If anybody ever wrote
treason should still be
a
brought
novel,
up
the great
with,
James Patterson, if
the
you ever wrote
rule
a
that
novel
if
like
you
this, it
commit
wouldn't sell because
treason,
people would say, no,
you
it's
get
not
harmed.
believable. This could never happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's worse. They're finding out things now that nobody even thought.
Don't
were
matter who it
possible.
is.
We're going to end Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all.
Please do. That lady's been around for too long.
She's on her way out anyway.
And then we're going to kick the Biden crime family out of the White House in 2024 or sooner.
Or sooner.
It's Trump.
But even our Supreme Court justices, and it's sad to say this, are afraid to do what has to be done to save our country. They're trying so desperately to be politically correct and to be loved by all. These are the justices of the United States Supreme Court. They are terrified of the radical left. They are afraid of packing the court so that they are only one of 15, 19, or even 25 justices. And at any cost, they don't want to be impeached. Please don't impeach me. I don't want to be impeached. I'm a Supreme Court judge. Please don't impeach me. I'm a justice of the Supreme Court. Don't impeach me, please, for being with a woman that I never heard of before. Women that he didn't know, women that a particular Justice Kavanaugh had no idea who they were. But you know what? He's lived through hell, and he's afraid. I believe he's afraid. I believe he's afraid to do the right thing. I really do. You know the expression, they play the ref. They play the ref. They said not so long ago, we're going to impeach him for something, and then they found out. The woman got up. She said, well, he never did anything wrong. They said, we don't care. We're going to impeach him anyway. These are vicious people. These are vicious people, and we can't let this go on. They have to gain strength. They have to gain new courage, and they have to stand up for freedom and stand up for what is right. They can no longer be afraid of the radical left, our Supreme Court, and our judges generally. The work of making America great again is only just beginning. The Republicans have a big and bold agenda that they're going into action under a Republican Congress, and we have a chance of setting records. But I don't want to say that. I don't want to say we could win 65 seats, because if we win 64, they'll say it was a terrible night for Trump. Terrible. He had a horrible night. He only won 64. He said he wanted 65. We will bring Joe Biden's inflation-causing socialist spending spree to a screeching halt. We will immediately begin a full audit of the $6 trillion of radical Democrats. The money's been flushed down the drain, and they're trying to get more. They want to get up to a number that nobody can believe, and it looks like maybe people will not allow that to happen because they don't want our country to be destroyed. They should have never, ever in the Senate given that 2-month stay. You had them on the ropes. You were going to win. And then Mitch McConnell gave them a 2-month stay.
Rhino.
I call it the 2 months in which they can get their act together. And they voted for the I call it the uninfrastructure bill, because there was very little infrastructure. Right? There was 9% infrastructure. Most of it's like throwing the money right out the window. And they voted. We had some Republicans headed by Mitch McConnell. He's so bad for our country. The American people deserve to know, where did all the money go? In addition, we must take immediate action to fight the Biden violent crime wave that is devastating our citizens in Democrat-run cities. You look at what's going on in Chicago. So sad. In Afghanistan. I had a meeting with Abdul. You know who Abdul is? He's the leader of the Taliban.
Abdul
I said,
Jabari.
Abdul, you better not kill our soldiers anymore. I was much tougher than that. I want to be nice.
I want to be nice.
Even Jim Jordan would have been concerned if he heard that. But I said, Abdul, you're killing our soldiers. You better fucking not kill our soldiers anymore.
Oh.
If you do, you will be hit like no country has ever been hit. You will be hit harder than anybody has ever been hit. And he said, Mr. President, but why? He actually called me Your Excellency. I don't know. Do you think he calls Biden Your Excellency? How about you? He goes, but why Your Excellency, Mr. President? Do you send me a picture of my house?
Well.
And I said, I'd rather not answer that question. See, I'm being diplomatic.
Well, it's a nice home. It'd be a shame if anything happened to you.
And you know, we didn't have one soldier killed in 18 months in Afghanistan. We had them, this is what we wanted, the Taliban. And we could have pulled out with strength and dignity. They were absolutely, and then you look at what's happening in New York and Chicago and Los Angeles and these Democrat-run cities, and you have 7 people killed in one weekend and 80 shot. It's terrible. Republicans should pass legislation making clear that when local left-wing district attorneys and attorney generals refuse to prosecute dangerous criminals, the DAs and attorney generals can be charged with violations of the civil rights law. I mean, look at Los Angeles, what's going on. Look at Philadelphia, where people that kill violent criminals are being immediately allowed out of jail with no bond. As we defend America's safety, we must also defend American values. As president, I was proud to issue the world's first ban on critical race theory in September of 2020.
That was awesome.
Over. We ended it. And then Biden, with the help of Mitch McConnell, came into office. Remember, he signed 17 executive orders, and one of them unended it. Not good. I also created the 1776 Commission. You people would love the 1776 Commission. So that young Americans would learn to love this country as much as we in this room do. On his first day in office, Biden abolished the 1776 Commission and then proceeded to impose woke left-wing racism on our military. With a Republican Congress, we will once and for all ban critical race theory from our schools. We will ban it from our military. We will ban it from every institution that accepts a single penny from the federal government.
Nice.
America's history will be taught fully and truthfully to America's beautiful children. In addition, we must defend parents' rights. Something new. Something new. That's right. Something new that came up, parents' rights. Who ever thought of parents' rights? Parents' rights. We love our parents, of course. Now we have to defend parents' rights against these lunatics and maniacs. America's moms and dads get a veto over anyone teaching far-left gender ideologies to their children without parental consent.
Yep.
And any parent who objects to the radical indoctrination in their children's classroom should be able to take their share of taxpayer dollars and spend it at the public, private, charter, or religious school of their choice. Another top priority to save American democracy must be to break up the big tech giants and restore free speech in America.
Heck yeah. Free speech is the bomb.
And we'll be fighting that very hard by opening Truth Social.
Again,
the days of
only
big
for Apple
tech
right
censoring the voices of the American people are numbered. The left is also trying to take away the rights and dignity of OAN, One America News, on DirecTV and AT&T. And it's a great voice, and these are great people, and they're patriots, and they want to take away their voice. They want it to be shut down, and it does great. Who listens to OAN? I do. I do. They want to take away their voice. Can't let it happen. They've got millions of viewers, and those viewers and that network should be allowed to go forward. Well, we're at it. A Republican Congress should launch a select committee, as opposed to an unselect committee, to get to the bottom of big tech's 2020 election interference. Let's find out who made the decision to censor. Who made that decision to censor the Joe and Hunter Biden corruption bombshell, which the pollsters said amounted to about 15 points, the largest illegal campaign contribution in American history? And let's do a full forensic audit of the $417 million given by Mark Zuckerberg, who used to come to the White House and kiss my ass. That they spent to take over local election offices in key Democrat counties, and I believe you're going to be hearing a lot of it. You know, if you're a person that wants to make a contribution, you're allowed to give less than $6,000. Otherwise, they put you in jail. He gave $417 million. What the hell is going on? What are we doing? $6,000 and you go to jail? $417 million spread all over the place. It's something that obviously is going to have to be looked at. It is so horrible what's happening to our country. We need a full accounting of all of the illegitimate turnout efforts, illegal drop boxes, and ballot harvesting that's taken place. You know, we had drop boxes, 97% for Joe Biden because he campaigned so hard from his basement. 3% for Trump. 3%. They gave me 3. At least they gave me something, because I think they had a couple where he actually got 100%. Thousands of votes. He got 4,000. I got nothing. No, that was such a horrible thing. We need fair elections. You need those borders. You need those elections. The world is already waiting to see the explosive information out of Georgia, where True the Vote, incredible people, has uncovered a massive illegal ballot harvesting scheme with over 2,000 ballot stuffers, or as they call them, mules. They call them mules. These are ballot stuffers. These are people. They call them mules. Ballots in Georgia and other swing states were trafficked and sold on an unprecedented scale. And the brutality, and it was just incredible what took place. They have it on tape. It's all on tape, and it's coming out over the next 3 weeks. It's all on tape.
Ooh.
They've got them at the machine, standing here. Here they are. Here they are. You know why? Because that's the way they got paid. They had to take a picture of them. And what a job they've done. What a job they've done. And you know the saddest part? The hardest thing to do isn't to have caught them. It's to get those people to write anything about them. Because without the fake news, you don't have a scandal. The rhinos and certain weak Republican politicians want to ignore election integrity also. But we cannot ignore it, and we have to fix it. Make no mistake, they will try to do it again in 22 and 24, and we cannot let them do that. And the way you do it is to come to a very powerful conclusion as to what happened in 2020. To stand down, to stop talking about it, to stop making Americans aware of the cheating and corruption that went on. That's really saying it's okay. You can do it again. We can't let that happen. In addition to securing our elections, here are some of the other things we must do with Republicans back in charge. We must pass critical reforms, making every executive branch employee fireable by the president. The deep state must and will be brought to heel. We will stop the radical Democrats from packing the Supreme Court with far-left justices. Although the way the Supreme Court is behaving, perhaps the Republicans should pack the Supreme Court. They are behaving not the way we think is appropriate for our country.
Well, that was kind of an ignorant thought. I mean, if one does, then
we will
we
defend
must
the
also.
Constitution, the right to life, and the right to keep
I get the
and
point,
bear
but-
arms. We will end sanctuary cities. We will end catch and release. And we will end the visa lottery scam. And we will finish the wall very quickly, a matter of weeks. We will charge China trillions of dollars for unleashing the virus upon the world. We will place tariffs on other countries. We will do the tariffing thing. We have no choice. You know, in China, for years, they ripped off our country. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars during our time in office. They never paid 10 cents, never 10 cents, between tariffs and taxes, hundreds of billions of dollars. And, you know, we made a trade deal, and it was an incredible deal for our farmers and our manufacturers. That's why our farmers are doing so well, because China, now I understand that China, once I'm out, China's not going to adhere to the deal. They wouldn't do that with me, but they're not going to adhere. But the farmers did fantastically well. But we made incredible deals with China. We saved our steel industry because they were dumping steel all over our country. Our steel industry was going down the tubes. I've had so many people in the steel industry thank me for the job we did. We put massive tariffs on steel that they were dumping in our country. But we took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. Nobody else took in 10 cents over many, many years. And I'm very proud of it. And China respected us. And then, of course, when COVID or the China virus came in, we had to deal a lot differently. But we're very proud of the job we did. We did something that I don't think anybody else could have done. And I want to thank certain governors did a very good job. Certain Republican governors did a very good job. And I can't think of any Democrat governors that did a good job. They were all in lockstep. Let's lock up your cities. Let's lock up your towns. Let's lock up your state. And let's harm your children. Let's take their social lives away at a very young age. We will place tariffs on other countries to restore the glory of American manufacturing, and we will ensure our future is made right here. We're going to manufacture. We started it big time right here in the USA. And these are just a few of the steps that we have to take to save the nation that we love. The rest of them you know, the rest of them we've discussed today. If we fail in our mission, we already know what the fate of America will be. The radical left is trying to extinguish our very identity as Americans so that when they try to take our freedom, we do not even think to resist. They don't resist. They got to resist. They got to fight. They got to fight. We have no choice. We got to fight like hell. We can't let them destroy our country. But our opponents have made a very big mistake. They have done the one thing you must never do if you seek to harm America. They have grossly underestimated the strength and brilliance and pride of the American people. They're not going to stand for it. They're not going to take it. The crackdown, censorship, and cancel culture are not an expression of confidence. They are an expression of cowardice and of fear, and they are afraid. They reveal not the dominance of the radical left, but their desperation and their despair. They are losing, we are winning. They know it. They know it. And that's why they're going so far. That's why they're doing some of the crazy things that they're doing. They're acting as though they were lunatics, maniacs, and the people get it. And we have to stop it. And we have to stop it now. My fellow Americans, this nation does not belong to the radicals, and it does not belong to the corrupt establishment in Washington that I've gotten to know very well. This nation belongs to you, belongs to you. It was patriots like you that built this country, and it's patriots like you that are going to save our country. So to all of those who think that they can coerce and subjugate the citizens of this land, hear these words from me tonight. The people of America will not surrender our borders. We will not surrender our culture. We will not surrender our faith. We will not surrender our values. We will not surrender our history. We will not surrender our liberty. And above all, we will not surrender our children to the small band of bullies and extremists who want to tell everyone else what to do. We are done with the fascists and communists and socialists, and we are done with their distorted visions for America. It's time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We want our country to be great again. We want our country to be respected again. We are a laughingstock all over the world today. 1 year ago, we were respected like never before. We are a laughingstock. In summation and in closing, as your president, I instituted
Apparently these people really like this guy.
I instituted the largest tax cut in American history by far, and our economy thrived like never before. As your president, I eliminated more burdensome regulations than any other president in history by far. As your president, I proudly protected our Constitution and the First and Second Amendment. As your president, I secured our southern border, upheld the laws of this land, and stopped the influx of illegal immigrants into America, very dangerous illegal immigrants. I instituted the Remain in Mexico policy. We don't want you here. You have to remain in Mexico. And Mexico agreed with us. Someday I'll tell you that story. Built over 500 miles of border wall and ended the insanity of catch and release. As your president, I made America energy independent for the first time in 72 years. When I left office, America was a net exporter of energy for the first time in our country's history. As your president, I negotiated free and fair trade deals with Canada, Mexico, Japan, all over Europe, and China. We had the worst trade deals ever, and we turned them into some of the greatest trade deals ever made. I'm the only president in history to stand up to China and their one-sided and unfair trade practices, and I tax them and I tariff them beyond any levels that anybody thought was possible. You know what? President Xi liked me and respected me, and I liked and respected him. We got along great. We got along great. Until COVID came, and then it was a whole different ballgame. But we had a very good relationship. As your president, I kept my promise and chose Supreme Court justices on the list I gave to the country before the 2016 election. I gave a list of great, brilliant, conservative justices. As your president, I insisted NATO nations start paying their fair share, and they did. Hundreds of billions of dollars started floating in. Hundreds of billions of dollars. And Secretary General Stoltenberg was my biggest fan. He said, I've never believed it, because President Obama would go to NATO, make a speech, talk about the weather, the sun, how lovely everyone looks and live. And others would too, including President Bush, how wonderful everything was. And I went and I said, I'm sorry, you're all delinquent. You have to pay it. And they said, well, does that mean you won't protect us if we don't pay? I said, that's what it means. And they said, get out the checkbook. And the money flowed in. Billions and billions of dollars flowed in. Oh, these are stories that the fake news doesn't want to talk about. I also warned NATO about the danger of Russia. And look at the consequences. On foreign policy, the world rightly had a healthy fear that as president, I would stand strong for American priorities. You remember, though, when so many people in the Democrat Party and during the debates said he's going to get us into the Third World War with Trump? I'm the one that didn't have any wars. I'm the one that got us out of wars. Look at Iraq. Look at Syria. I was the one that brought us way down in Afghanistan. I brought you down to 2,000 soldiers. The easy part was I brought it down from 20,000 soldiers to 2,000 soldiers. The easy part was for Biden to just get them out, let the soldiers stay, the remaining soldiers, and take care of everything. It's called Soldiers Outlast. I went to a child who was 5 years old. You've heard me say this. I said, let me ask you a question. I gave him the whole story. Would you take the soldiers out first, or would you take them out last? I'd take them out last. He was 5, and he understood.
He was
they
5.
Understood
he understood
any hostile actions would be met with swift and severe consequence. The world is always safer when America has a strong president. America has to be strong, and it needs strong leadership. And you see what happens when you have bad, weak, or incompetent leadership. It's a travesty like nobody could believe could happen in such a short period of time. The world is always in danger with a weak American president. This coming midterm election is more critical than ever before. I'm asking all of you to fight and work hard to elect candidates that believe in the principles and policies that we hold so dear. This is a tipping point for the country, and the stakes could not be higher. Losing is not an option. We must win in 2022. We must win in 2024. We all know what happens when you get a rigged election, like in 2020. Will never happen again. We all know laws were not followed. Ballot harvesting was rampant. We all know state constitutions were also ignored all over our country, and you're not allowed to do that. The only ones that can make the changes are the state legislatures, and they didn't make the changes. We must agree this can never, ever happen again in this country. Every state must adopt election integrity measures, signature verification. Illegal immigrants cannot be allowed to vote like they are currently allowed in New York City. You can walk in and you can vote in New York City. Oh, my beautiful New York. I love New York. My beautiful New York. What's happened? Republicans need to watch the vote counting up close from the start to the finish. We can't allow thugs to throw our people out, which is what happened. Mail-in ballots need to be in secure rooms with cameras so there can be no tampering with ballots. Voter rolls must be updated and they must be accurate, not changed after the election takes place. We must seek a goal of voter ID. This is a goal we have to seek. This is what we should have. Voter ID.
It shouldn't even be a conversation. I mean, it really shouldn't. Anybody that thinks that voter ID is bad needs to think about everything that they do on a regular day that requires them to have an ID.
Same day voting, like we've always done. No mail-in ballots except for our military and people who are truly sick. And you know what would be really wonderful too? What would be really wonderful? It's asking a lot. A thing called, very simply, paper ballots. I have a young son, Barron, young son, and he can make his computer sing. I turn it off and I lock it. 2 minutes later, hi, Dad, how you doing? I said, what are you doing? Yeah, I know how to get it open, Dad. Bad things happen with the vote. Very, very bad things happen. Wonderful thing if we could ever. By the way, Canada goes to paper ballots. You know that, right? Canada, paper ballots. America is the greatest country on earth, and we must insist on integrity in the process so we are confident of the results. Because what we have now is you have 80% of the party thinking the vote was a horrible vote. And I believe that to be the case. I know certainly, I feel certain that it was. You can't have that. You can't have a great democracy with a thing like that happening. You must get your state legislatures to act now before November. They have to move. They have to act with the help of everyone here today and with the commitment of hardworking, freedom-loving patriots all across our country. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We want to be proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Macho man.
Yeah, this guy is.
I'd love to see this guy's iTunes playlist.
Yeah, right.
I just gotta know. I guarantee most of these are straight off of there. He just gives them his phone. Yeah, these are like my favorite songs. Go through these. They're lovely.
The people will love him. I'm telling you. Everybody will love him.
I like them, so everyone's gonna love them.
Well, folks, that was that. That was all we were really going to do. We were just going to go and watch President Trump's CPAC speech, and that's what we did. Thank you to RSBN for doing what you do, continuing doing this. Remember, we're not doctors. We're not trying to tell people what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and we're not at all thinking that this guy was supposed to be president. We have the most legitimate president currently, and that is President Biden.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, whoever joined us, by the way. That was sweet.
Somebody joined us for the whole thing. They're still with us. That's awesome. So, all that being said, Jimmy, you want to get anything you got to say for yourself?
Yeah, man, I'm just real sorry. These damn drugs, they just got me going. Oh, you mean about like my shows and stuff?
Or anything you want, I mean, shows up.
No, yeah, you can follow me here on YouTube at JimmyTube, or I got a Twitter you can follow me at over at the let's see, at Real Anime Rich _ and capitalizations, or you can follow me at the Atlas Pass on TikTok, Odyssey, and Rumble.
Links are down below for him, as well as America Shirts has links down below. AmericaShirtsAreFirst.com. If you actually go to his website and you actually like the shirts and you actually want to purchase something, if you use promo code Koolfrogg, that's KOOLFROGG, you do save yourself 15%. I am the one and only Koolfrogg. You can go to a link tree, which is also down in the description down below. It's linktree/Koolfrogg. That's again KOOLFROGG. There's lots of different places to follow me. You can watch me on Twitch and YouTube and Rumble. Anywhere else that you'd like to follow me, there's lots, including buymeacoffee.com/Koolfrogg. If you want to support me immediately, you go there. You throw a comment. The comment will be read the next time we actually go live. We do have the tendency to try going, or we were trying to do a midnight every night or whatever, Tuesday through Saturday, whatever, for an initial start. Now that I actually have an actual job, that kind of got changed a little bit. We're just going to do whenever we can, we're going to do something, and that's what we're doing today. We did it whenever we could. Just so happened to be that we did it at 8 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time. That being said, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Fuck you, Susan.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.